Hey, Panda. What you doing? What's going on, guys? Joe R here, and if you're a fan of base set, and if you're a fan of first edition cards, well then we've got the creme de la creme for you today, because we've got some immaculate base set first edition cards that we just recently picked up in a gorgeous lot that we purchased. We dropped a total of $5,300 on these cards, and it goes to show once again that communication is key in any eBay buy or any eBay sale, because you always get the best deals when you're communicating with the person you're buying from. And that's what we did in this case. So without further ado, let's get to what we've actually got here. So right off the bat, we've got a gorgeous Metapod. What a beautiful card that is. But we've got better to look at, so we're going to put him away. We got Magnemite here, base set first edition. We've got Machop, base set first edition. Coughing. Ghastly. And the way this particular lot worked is that we have an entire, complete base set first edition non-holo card set. This is all 17 to 102, and it should really say 103 because we've got both Pikachus as well coming up in just a second. There's a classy card, Caterpie. All that 90s nostalgia. I mean, the artwork on these is just gorgeous, and they really don't make a lot of cards with this exact same style of artwork. I mean, you know that they reprinted for Evolutions, which isn't my shtick. I'm all about that Wizards of the Coast nostalgia, so that's my forte. But these cards look great, and I couldn't be happier with this pickup because we've got a complete set of the non-holos, 117 to 102, really 103, with the two Pikachus that we're going to see momentarily. The entire set itself cost me $5,300, and it's not a complete set. It's a near mint complete set, and you have to say to yourselves, well, that could either be a good deal or it could be a terrible deal. It really depends on the condition of the cards, how the holos look, and we're going to get to the holos momentarily, so don't you worry. You already know from the opening that we've got an Alakazam. I mean, and Alakazam's definitely a boss, but he's not the boss. There we have it, lass. That girl lass. Item Finder. Imposter Professor Oak. That's a chill card. We got our rares now. Base set first edition rares. All of these are shadowless cards. All the base set first edition cards are shadowless. There we have our Weedle. And I've definitely been on the hunt for base set first edition cards for a long time now. This kind of just, the opportunity for this kind of just popped up. I got to talking with this particular seller, and he wanted to do a deal in person, and it was like the stars aligned. They really did, because when you're looking to buy from someone, how often do they live almost practically in your backyard? You got the whole country to think about, and this guy was not too far off the grid for me. So I was able to meet up with him and work out this deal, and we got the cards that we wanted, and it was really just a really wonderful, overall great experience. I actually got to meet this gentleman's father, too. I brought my friend as well, and we met at a local police station, or actually it was technically a community center right next to the police station. Really the perfect place to do any kind of transaction like this, because there's lots of people around, it's out in public, it was during the daytime, it worked out really great for both parties, and now I've got a new connection, and he's up for selling more in the future too. One cool thing about this lot is that it's got the occasional Gray Star mixed in, not Gray Star, I'm sorry, Gray Stamp mixed in. And what I mean by that is, if you take a look, this is a Starmie, and this is a Staryu, both common cards for base set first edition, but if you take a look, that Staryu right here, that first edition stamp is very, very light. It's very gray in comparison to the boldness that is the Starmie. So that is a gray stamp first edition card, and that's really cool too, because a lot of people hunt for the gray stamps. I know some individual collectors, they literally hunt for complete gray stamp sets. So to have a few of those mixed in is really cool. Here's my favorite non-holo card, the Dragonair. So majestic. Too bad he turns into Barney in the fossil set, but let's just admire that nostalgic 90s beauty right there. That is a gorgeous card. And the entire non-holo set that I have here, 17 to 102, Really 103, like I said. It's all near mint to lightly played, or lightly played to near mint, whatever you want to say. The rares in particular are all near mint, and then there's just some of the commons, uncommons that are really in the light played department, I guess, if you will. So I couldn't be happier. And you could say that these non-holo cards, the entire set, you could probably value it at right around $1,000, which is a good amount of money for just a bunch of non-holos, I gotta say. But it's a complete set, and you have to pay the premium for the whole set. That's just how it goes. We got Raticate, Porygon, Poliwhirl, Nidorino, another one of my favorite cards from the original 150. I mean, it's just such a cool animal. Magmar, also another one of my favorites. I think anything with like a long tail too, fire in particular, always one of my favorites. Magikarp, because it evolves into Gyarados. This is a very cool card. Machoke, Kakuna, Kadabra. There's a base set first edition Jinx. Good old Ivysaur. That's a nice uncommon card to have. Haunter. And you can see all of the cards that I'm showing you, even if they are lightly played, you can't tell from the front for certain what the condition is. So these are amazing if you're interested in having a binder collection of these particular cards. I mean, they look great. And Charmeleon, that's a beautiful card too. I'm actually curious what Charmeleon's condition is, because I do love me Charmeleon. So a little bit of a nick right there. I can see it on camera. Otherwise, that looks pretty good. Oh, we got another fan favorite coming up. Don't worry, we're getting to those holos in just a moment. We've got Arcanine here. That's a beautiful card. Always confused me as to why Arcanine was not a rare. And we've got Pidgeotto, who is a rare, oddly enough. We get Pidgeot in the jungle set later. Electrode. Electabuzz. These are all the rares, it seems, or some more of them anyway. Dugtrio, first edition base set. We have a Grass Energy, an Electric Energy, and this Electric Energy in particular also is a definite gray stamp. You see just how different that stamp is compared to the Fire Energy. It's very, very light, very gray in comparison. So that's really cool. We have a Fighting Energy, double colorless, Switch, Water Energy. Definitely the most valuable cards in the set, right? Sandshrew and Rattata. Very classy, very classy. I wonder just how many people really went through the trouble of starting the game with Rattata. You leave Pallet Town in the Game Boy games, you get that Rattata, you train it up. It's definitely a good first Pokemon to grab on the way. Ponyta, Poliwag. Here's our two Pikachus. We'll put them side by side. I think most people watching this video are probably going to know the difference between red cheeks and yellow cheeks, so I'm not going to go crazy about it, but you can see it's real obvious. These two cards in particular are really nice condition. They're probably two of the closest to being mint condition, rivaling probably a PSA 8-9 range card, so that's really neat. So definitely getting some great cards in this set here. Pidgey, Onyx. I always really loved Onyx for some reason. I mean, it's a giant rock snake. How can you not? And Nidoran, which is also a little bit of a favorite of mine, just because Nidorino and Nidoking are so damn cool. All right, let me just clear the way here for a second and get some of this out of the way. Now, when negotiating prices on this thing, we were kind of going a little bit back and forth. I was giving a little lower, he was giving a little higher, and we settled in the middle on it. And he actually said to me, he's like, all right, so you want to go no higher than 5,000 on this. I paid a total of $5,300, mind you. And we settled on 53 because he said, all right, how about 53? I'm going to throw in 2 more base set first edition cards, but these will be ungraded because all of them were graded. And these are the 2 that he threw in, and I paid the extra $300 just so I could include these. And I thought that was pretty good because I was willing to pay $5 for everything, and he threw these in. It's still basically like I was paying $5. He just threw in $300 more worth of cards, so there's more value being added in, which I was okay with. So I took on this. This is a Clefairy, and it's not graded, so you kind of have to do a little judging for yourself here. But it kind of looks like it's around a near mint condition. It would probably bring back around a 7 or an 8. 8 on a good day, 7 on a bad day. It doesn't seem to have too much in the way of scratches, so it's a possibility for an 8. It's an 8 candidate. Alakazam here is our other card. You saw him. Mr. Panda was going to town with Alakazam. And he looks real clean too. He's got a little edge wear on him, of course. You can take a little closer look. I think he's got a little on the bottom side there. You can see that. That looks like a strong 7 candidate, just based on the back alone. I know there's a lot of collectors out there. TCA Gaming, Gem Mint, Pokemon. They judge cards by their backs pretty often, and then front kind of second. I do more or less the same thing when I look at my cards. So I look at this and I say, okay, this probably is going to bring back 7 or 8. I would be really surprised if it brought back anything less than a 7. First one up of our graded cards, and this is where our value is going to be made, really, because the non-holos and those 2 holos I just showed you, they brought back probably around $1,300 in value. I could probably argue maybe for closer to $1,400 with the holos if I wanted, but this is where we're going to get our money. So we got Near Mint 8 base set, first edition Venusaur, and I tell you another thing about this set. The cards we're about to take a look at, they're all really, really clean. I mean, should they be 9s? You know, I don't really think they would be 9s. They'd be weak 9s if they were, but they're definitely all really strong 8s, which I'm really okay with, because I think that's more than good enough for me. I think one of my goals is to try to get around an 8 set. If I only get 7 for Charizard, that's okay in my book. There's a Near Mint 8 Alakazam, definitely stronger than the one I showed you. So if this is an 8, that other one probably would be more classified as like a 7. But that's a beautiful card. And we're going to put him down. Raichu right here. And this Raichu is actually a little on the special side. So as a PSA 8, this Raichu probably is going to fetch right around the 250 mark in value. But let me tell you something special about this Raichu. It is a gray stamped Raichu. And there's not exactly a ton of these floating around in high grade. You can see there's a clear difference. That's one of the most gray stamps I think I've ever personally seen. And that is really cool to have in front of me. So, a really awesome card. I'm going to put that front and center right here next to Venusaur, because that's really awesome. A gray stamp Raichu like that. Ninetales base set first edition. That's a tough card to grade. Nidoking, and he's a little off center, but otherwise gorgeous card. Magneton, PSA 8, Near Mint. Not the one of the more valuable first edition base set cards. Of course, still more valuable than Machamp here. He was in theme decks. That's how we got him, so he's not worth too much compared to the other cards, but still reaching over the $100 mark, I would say. That's 2019 December prices again. Now, this Hitmonchan is a little unique in that this is definitely the most OC base set first edition card I've ever seen. Personally. I'm sure I've seen some on listings in past, and I know there are cards that have gotten the OC grade, but this is the only one I've ever owned to be this off-center. I mean, it's super obvious. Look at the borders here. That is super thick compared to the right, which is super thin, very off-center. Even top to bottom is off-center. That's usually what does it for when you're looking for the OC grade, and the back is pretty sharp. It's a really sharp card. We're not seeing any whitening on the left and right borders or the bottom or the top, really. It's a sharp card. So this is definitely something that can get OC. I know there's a lot of people out there, they're like, oh, mine's a little off-center. I think it could possibly. This looks very off-center. This would be acceptable as an OC grade. It's just a matter of PSA is going to judge it that way or not. Now, does it meet their qualifications? I'm sure it does. I mean, this is super OC, but they don't always give it. So we'll put good old Hitmonchan back there. We have Gyarados, PSA 9. That's a beautiful card. I actually already have one of these in my collection, so I might put this one up for sale. I'm going to put this in the pile. Let's not block gray stamp Raichu there. Another Clefairy. This one graded an 8. Very clean card. Chansey, and this was really what made me want to buy this particular lot of cards, because I saw this and I was like, man, that's really cool. I know Shadowless PSA 9 Chansey is really hard to get in a high grade, specifically PSA 9. And this was a PSA 9 first edition base set Chansey. I know it's not as tough to grade as the Shadowless one, but I still thought it was really, really cool. And I was like, man, those silver backgrounds are always so difficult to deal with. I thought it would be real neat to have that. There we have it, Big Daddy Charizard. And it's graded a 7. It's the only card in the set, unfortunately, that is graded a 7, but that still gives it immense value. We're talking 2K plus just for the Zard, and it's rightfully so. If we look, it does have some definite whitening along the edge here. Not a ton, but enough so that I'm very much satisfied with it being a 7. For a while, initially, I wasn't seeing this at first, and I thought to myself, gee, this could maybe be a regrade candidate, but after looking at it, I'm pretty happy with it as a 7. I don't want to crack it and risk it. It's not really worth it, especially looking at all of these cards graded as 8s, and they're strong 8s. That would definitely be a weak 8 if it were to regrade as a 7. We're gonna take Charizard and put him front and center just like that. And last but certainly not least, we've got our Big Daddy Blastoise, King of the Turtles. And he's coming in at near mint 8. So gorgeous cards all around. Strong 8 again. I've got a set of 7s personally, and I'm probably going to be adding this into my private collection, and I'm going to be shifting off the 7 grades. Just an upgrade, so to speak. And that's typically how I like to do things. I'll get better grades as I go along, and I'll move them as I see fit. And it's been a little while, so that 7 is definitely appreciated, so I'll be getting back more than I put in, and it makes it so that the upgrade is not going to hurt so much when it comes down to it. So that's all we've got for you guys today. Check out those cards. Those all look beautiful. So I'm super happy. I hope you're super happy. You can like, subscribe, and tune in next time for more Pokemon card Wizards of the Coast vintage action. Bye-bye, guys. See you later.